In April 2020, as Sydney's first COVID lockdown was coming to a close, Clara and I realised that we had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of having a character-driven genre film with a small cast and isolated locations that was perfect for filming in a pandemic. We also realised that with all other Australian productions shut down, there was a unique window of opportunity that we might be able to get the cast we wanted on the schedule that we needed.
The world knew very little about COVID when we started filming. All we knew back then was that social distancing and minimising contact with the outside world was critical.
It was so uncertain. I flew over from WA and it was like, will I make it across? When will I be coming back there? And there were so many talks of like, when I land there, is this going to go ahead?
We invented new workflows taking advantage of recent technology and adopted shorter working hours while ensuring that we protected the creative process on this performance-driven story. Our COVID protocol was vetted and approved by Dr. Himanshu Brambat, Joint CEO and Director of Ingenic, who were already researching coronavirus and the treatment of COVID-19.
You know, before it was just kind of a given that there's always work and there's things shooting, but every day felt like a bit of a milestone.
It was like obviously the most weird year for probably everyone on the globe, and I lost a lot of work and shows were cancelled, and I was going, what am I going to do now? And then I got a message from Clara saying, hey, we want to make the film.
I found it super interesting shooting through COVID. I really did. I think it was one of the first films in the world back up after the pandemic ran riot.
We had to talk a lot about how we were going to do it. I thought about how we don't touch each other and how we sanitize before we go on set and we don't touch each other's belongings. But actually, I don't think we saw a lot of the challenges that were ahead of us until they arose. Trusting people in a way that you wouldn't normally have trusted people or needed to. Trust that they're, you know, when we don't see them, that they're not going out partying illegally with 20 mates, that we're all keeping each other safe and in mind. It was a pretty rare, extraordinary experience.
I was very impressed by the fact that the production went ahead when it did. That's probably the first thing I would say. It's quite incredible to be so courageous about moving forward with a project, but then also to have everything in place and to really kind of have gone to the effort. We were probably at a time when you could easily have argued you didn't know what to do. And I think that would have been a really easy excuse.
Vaccines didn't exist, rapid antigen tests were just an idea, and masks were only mandated in our final block. The only way we knew to film safely was to ensure that the characters didn't touch.
I think we all had to work harder to create intimacy on screen without physical contact because of COVID.
Simple challenges, such as the one where you can't hug your daughter before she says goodbye to you and escapes into the wilderness for indefinite time. That wasn't something I anticipated before it happened.
We wanted to touch, and of course we didn't make not touching about COVID. There was a reason that we couldn't touch that was significant to those characters and the tension between them. And I think that just added to the drama of the film.
Shooting at that time of COVID, it was easy. It was nice and calm, and you know, things just got done. And you had a cup of tea and you had a chin wag, and you know, it was nice and relaxed.
Incredible working with such a skeleton crew, which I found quite freeing at the time. You weren't sort of hamstrung by setups, and there wasn't as much waiting around. Clara sort of knew exactly what she was after, and Ben would set it up and shoot it. Yeah, I found it quite freeing, and there wasn't the stresses or the adversity you can sometimes come across on a big set. But it was a unique experience, one which I'll probably never get to experience again, but yeah, it was awesome.
After that shoot, I thought, wow, you know, producers are going to start looking and going, I can save a lot of money here by shooting things on a much smaller scale than having all these people wandering around.
You know, it's really hard when people went through some terrible experiences during the pandemic. Even though it's work, it was like a break from the pandemic for us. You know, we got to have a moment of a glimpse into a world where we weren't at that time privy to because we weren't allowed to do anything or go anywhere. But living together and creating in a time when a lot of people didn't have that privilege, getting to know each other's families and leaning into family to help, leaning into friends to help. It was an incredible time.
You know, we'd look at the news and see cases rising or borders closing and all this stuff, and then turn our phones off and get back on set and shoot the next scene.
I was talking to a mate who works in the industry, and he said sometimes, the more people, the more problems that are created. So I think it was a wonderful experience. There should be more of it.
It was at this time where everyone was having to isolate, and we were actually getting the opportunity to come together and share something for a few months, which was really special.